Welcome back to Grow Schema, the show where we discuss leadership, team management, and everything in between. I'm your host Daniel, and today I'm accompanied by Naomi Barry, who is the head of HR in her particular company. Naomi, if you can introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, Daniel. First of all, thank you for having me on here today. By way of introduction, I'm Naomi, and I head the HR department of, we are three associated entities. So we have Fenwick & Fenwick Advocates, which is a law firm, Fenwick's Corporate Services, which is a corporate service provider, and Fenwick & Fenwick Marine Services, which is a service provider dedicated to the shipping industry. I've been working in HR for the last 6 years. I've been within this company for the last 8 years. And I'm pleased to say, that I've seen drastic changes when it comes to the HR function, as well as the importance of HR. And, I'm pleased to see where HR as a profession has come to today. So I look forward to discussing HR trends with you on this podcast.
That's great, because in fact, our today's topic is why should a company invest in a solid HR function? And I think Naomi can share her experience on this matter. How was it like starting in HR? And
starting in HR, it happened, naturally for me, and I always say that everything happens for a reason, and what's meant to be will be. So I actually have a slightly different background. So I started working, and I actually studied my degree in tourism because I felt that was, the niche for me. However, in time, I realized that perhaps I wanted to, specialize in an area, and this is where HR came in. I was undertaking my master's while working full-time within this company. And then an opportunity, was presented to me, and I took on the developing of the HR function for our organization. It was exciting, but also challenging. And I would say that, there are 3 takeaways in terms of, developing your team and developing the HR function within organizations. There is the element of prioritizing and planning. So when you're starting, an HR function from, scratch, there are going to be, 101 things to do. So you need to prioritize, and ultimately with prioritization comes the element of planning, because that is how you will manage your tasks efficiently and also effectively. There's also the element of speaking, the language that employers would understand. And by that I mean, making use of data to substantiate and justify and push any proposals that you have in mind to implement within an organization, because ultimately many employers, I feel, the turning point is when they truly understand the cost that comes with not having good employee engagement and ultimately having a high turnover, for instance. That directly impacts your growth, your revenue, your sales, your customer experience, and your overall organizational expenses. So when you make that data very relevant and very clear for employers to see, that is when I feel they truly invest in their HR function, which ultimately helps with what I always say. There are 2 main things: employee engagement and retention, which obviously means less turnover.